life will throw and like businesses will throw like a lot of challenges at you. You have to learn to be fearless, own your mistakes, and learn from them and keep going ahead.
Welcome to episode 10 of the Learn and Unlearn podcast, where I have a conversation with Raghavendra Narayan, founder of Tilt Cars, India's first of its kind peer-to-peer car sharing service. Welcome, Raghav. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Gautam. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to you. It's great to be here.
Tell us more about Tilt Cars.
Tilt is an affordable alternative to vehicle ownership in India. What it does essentially, it allows people to own a car for a chosen term period without having to make a huge down payment or take a loan. The benefit of owning a car or a bike with Tilt is that you do not have to make the payment for the whole car, you just pay for what you use. Therefore, your EMI or your monthly outflow is lower, and it provides for a more cost effective alternative to owning a vehicle. Also, along with that, there are a lot of benefits for salaried people who are always on the move in terms of tax benefits if they opt for a Tilt vehicle through their company. This is basically what Tilt does. Uh, Tilt is basically principled on the tenets of operating lease, where we lease out vehicles to people at at a lower affordable cost, and they can. It's something like short-term ownership of a vehicle. That's what basically Tilt is about.
Interesting. What made you start this?
There are multiple reasons behind launching Tilt. Firstly, I would say now in this country, having a bike or a car at home has become an absolute necessity for every household or family in India. And suddenly, in the last 1 year, personal mobility has become even more of a priority, especially with the COVID pandemic around, which is forcing people to distance away from each other. As you know, public transportation in our country is not sustainable. It is either overcrowded in the cities or absent in the smaller town and villages. And the only other options are like taxis, which alleviate a small part of the problem of on demand mobility, but cannot replace having your own vehicle. Sometimes it's either too expensive or it's not available, and you're at the mercy of Ola or Uber cab drivers at all times. And the other option, which is self-drive cars for long-term and short-term, is very, very expensive. So the only option left for people is to have personal mobility right now is to buy a vehicle with full cash, only if you can afford it, or make a huge down payment and then take a loan as well. This creates a huge barrier for entry for a lot of people who are wishing for a car. Like everybody wants to have a car, but making these payments or taking a loan makes it very difficult for them to afford a car. And if someone is buying a car, it takes away a big chunk of their hard-earned savings, which eventually makes them lose out on opportunity costs, which could have been put to better use for investment, say for your future or for your house or for your child's education. You're basically, by buying a car and making like a down payment or paying a huge amount, you're postponing or delaying such important investments just to buy a car, which is a depreciating asset at the end of the day. And also, taking a loan impacts your credit score, your borrowing capacity as well is impacted. You'll have less money available to make a better investment such as buying a home. Added to all this, when you buy a vehicle, you have to take care of it as long as you own it. Do the emission insurance, take care of maintenance, repair, and then you have to haggle with dealers at the end of the period. When you want to sell it, you have to haggle with car dealers to get the right price to sell it. So there is a lot of problems related to vehicle ownership, and it's become a necessity right now. And there's a huge gap that nobody has tried to fill. And this is like my primary reason behind launching Tilt. A huge section of the people in India are underserved or not served at all, and they're not able to afford a vehicle. So Tilt is trying to make an effort to fill this gap by making personal vehicles affordable and available to everyone. Our vision basically is to make vehicles accessible, remove the barrier for entry for people so that everyone can ride a bike or own a car without making a huge down payment or taking a loan or paying a huge EMI monthly. So these are basically the tenets behind me launching Tilt as a platform for people to avail vehicles.
Is this service available only in Bangalore right now or in any other cities?
So we have launched it in Bangalore in March. We are immediately moving to Chennai and Coimbatore and trying to cover South India by the end of this year. So we should be available in the metros and probably in the larger cities in South India by the end of this year.
Good. Tell us about your entrepreneurship journey. How has your journey been?
Oh, the journey has been eventful, I would say, but not easy. I come from a technology background. I'm a software engineer, and I was working as a techie for an MNC. I worked for 12 years. I built good domain knowledge in retail and e-commerce. So it was very hard for me to leave a plush job with a handsome salary and a good life to being an entrepreneur. But as far as I can remember, I was always interested and always wanted to do something on my own. And I had a special interest in automobiles, and there was this idea was like troubling me for a long time. I wanted to solve this problem and have something that is available for people. This feeling or itch, what you could call, got bigger and bigger and reached a point where I started thinking of it seriously. Like in the last, I think in the last year or so. And the last few months before I quit my job, I was kind of suffering with anxiety because I was in two minds. Like one part, I couldn't focus on my work, and the other side, my mind was telling, okay, you should start working on your venture. So I thought it was fair to quit and do justice to what I wanted to do and burn the ship, quit my job, go ahead and not make a half-hearted effort towards my vision nor my job. So that's where it all started. Although I hadn't thought of all fully of all the challenges that I would face at that time. So yeah, it's been a great journey so far, Gautam.
Amazing. What are the key learnings that you have from your journey?
So I mean, there were like a lot of learnings. I faced many challenges. I wouldn't call them right or wrong. They were all lessons for me. One thing I would say is in this journey, say entrepreneurship, if I could call it, is a lonely journey. You're one person who's having a vision and you're trying to get people to believe in this vision. So what I learned and what the challenge was basically I had to do a lot of these things myself. Before when I was a techie, I had a team and everybody used to take care of one part. You didn't have to worry about like the whole decision making and stuff. Here everything is on you, and it's very important to find good people or partners who support you. For me in the beginning, it was when I started alone, it was very difficult. I was trying to build the tech, trying to work on the sales, do everything, but my wife has been a great support, and she joined me in this journey and supported me. So I would say it's very very important, and this was one really big challenge for me. You start feeling lonely, so it was a big challenge for me. And I also found some really good advisors who supported me through the journey. I would say always seek help, and from the right people with the right knowledge. And I'm sure if they believe in you and your idea, everybody will be ready to help you. Uh, Initially, I thought, okay, I can do this by myself, but I realized that alone you can't go far. You need people, working with you who believe in your idea to support you to to go that distance. I would say that is like primarily one of the biggest challenges for me. The second has been, I think, the finances and about managing finances. Uh, and with my technology background, and I did science in school, I really did not do accounting or financing or any of those economics and stuff. So that was also a bit of a challenge for me in this journey. It was all new to me. I could write code and say build a team, but of course finances and sales were always like a challenge. Also with COVID being around, it was very stressful. It was a tough year. But I think I've managed well enough. If I realize that if I can survive now, with COVID around and things being shut and you're not able to do business, if we can survive, or a company or a venture can survive now, it can definitely thrive later when things are better. So life will throw, and businesses will throw a lot of challenges at you. You have to learn to be fearless, own your mistakes and learn from them and keep going ahead. Also, one more challenge was managing personal finances when you're doing a business or doing a venture. Personal finance is very important. You have to plan for a year at least. For me, with COVID coming in between, like I lost about 3-4 months of business, so it kind of messed with everything. That was a big challenge to set everything right, cut your expenses, because you won't be earning anything, and on top of that, you will be burning a lot of money to run a business. And it also involves involving your family, making them understand that the risks that you're taking, and that you have to measure that risk and plan upfront. So these were some of the challenges, basically, I would say, that as an entrepreneur I faced after moving from being in a job to being an entrepreneur, because you don't get your monthly paycheck on the 30th. You have to make do with what you have, and you have to build a team and make the business work as well. So yeah, these were some of my key learnings and challenges in this journey, the last one. Yeah.
Very insightful. You mentioned that you face challenges with financial aspects. Are there any topics that you feel could have helped you if they were taught during your education?
Absolutely, absolutely. I would say primarily around, say, the economics of money, investing, savings. I think that's a key thing that everybody should be, learning when they do their formal education, at least primary and upwards. Somewhere they have to learn about the economics of money, financial planning. Through maybe some methods where you have some practical lessons that can be used in everyday life, not like a true, like, okay, about financial planning you have to learn, it should be a subject, but there should be some way where some practical lessons are taught, in taxes, about saving money, investing, probably how banks work, basically in the field of like value or the art or the science of saving. I think this would be absolutely necessary in some way, that if it's introduced in the curriculum would make a huge difference for people, or for children, or for adults who are receiving formal education and want to go out and start something on their own, want to be in business. The other thing I would say is important is introducing innovation in curriculum. People in India are naturally enterprising, and kids as such are always creative. We have to inculcate this habit of innovation from childhood. Make them do projects, say small projects. It could be selling soda, or like juice or something. It could be anything. Uh, we have to support their thoughts and their creativity, make them innovate. Let them understand how to take risks and what they learn from them. Don't push them into what the parents think should be taught or learned. You should allow them to decide what they want to learn in some small way. Of course, they are children, they won't be knowing exactly what they want to do, but in some way you should give them that freedom to choose some of the things that they're interested in. The other thing I would say, dignity of labor, respecting everybody, treating everyone equally. It makes a lot of difference when they grow up in their jobs, or they're doing entrepreneurship. That would also be definitely a really good add-on and a lesson that can be taught in formal education. And the last thing I would think would be about the environment and how to respect the environment, understand wealth from waste, reuse, recycle. Uh, Help them learn how to consume products, not to consume unnecessarily. I think these are some of the key things, according to me, which are very important and should definitely be introduced in the formal education system in some way or the other.
Very true. These are very important topics. It is ironical that we are taught to earn money, but we are not taught about money.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right, Gautam. I feel the same.
Can you please tell us your plans for the future?
So we have big dreams for Tilt. I think about 70 lakh four wheelers are sold in India every year, and I think 70 lakh more people are waiting to own a car, but they can't afford it. There's a huge barrier. We are in a huge sector with a lot of benefits for customers. Our goal is to tilt people away from this whole easy EMI scheme that is run by banks from the 1990s. It's been running for decades, and there's been no innovation there. So we want to bring innovation there and make vehicle acquisition affordable. Also, there is a large gig economy, brewing in our country through Swiggy, Zomato, Dunzo, Amazon. Where people are delivering bikes. It's become a primary, thing of occupation now. So we are planning to lend out vehicles to them, make it easy and affordable for them to do their jobs. We're also looking at electric in a big way. We want to kind of push usage of electric mobility in India, cut down on emissions. This should really help the country in a large way as well. We're also working on models of used vehicle leasing. We want to make better use of existing cars and not unnecessarily put new cars on the road, especially petrol and diesel vehicles. I'm totally against like putting new petrol and diesel vehicles on the road. So our thing is to push, used vehicle leasing. And what used vehicle leasing does is reduce the cost of ownership for people as well. And our idea is to basically take this service to every household in India and empower people who are working to build this country and who are on the move all the time, make it easy for them to get what they need. So, yeah, we have grand plans. So let's hope for the best.
Awesome. Looking forward to lease a Tesla from you soon.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's something we've already started thinking about, and we're trying to reach out to them.
Can you please help us understand the math? If someone wants to use a car for a long term, would buying a car be better or would a lease be better?
So it depends on the usage. Say if someone's taking a car and they want to use it for 7 years, they don't want to change their car or swap their car, they want to keep that car for 7 years, then a loan definitely has benefits. But what happens is if you take a loan, say for if you want to buy a 10 lakh rupee car and you take a loan, then and you want to buy a home for 1 crore, if your limit for availing credit is for 1 crore, you can only take a loan for 90 lakhs because you've already bought a car worth 10 lakh rupees. So that way, if you're really going to use that car and not going to change it for 7 years, then it would make sense to take a loan. But if your usage is less than 7 years, you want a car for 5 years, you want to have the benefit of swapping the car, definitely a lease works out way better. And I can share how. What happens with a loan is you're paying for the whole car. Say if you want to buy a 10 lakh rupee car, you have to pay your EMI for the whole car. That is 10 lakh rupees. You have to pay 10 lakh rupees in the 3 years if you're taking a 3 year loan. But what happens in a lease is you don't pay for the whole car. What we do is when you are buying the car, we'll tell you that this 10 lakh rupee car will be worth 7 lakh rupees in the after 3 years, and it can be sold to someone else at 7 lakh rupees after 3 years. So what you're doing primarily here is you're trying to pay the deficit, which is that 3 lakhs that is lost in value of the car. So we will purchase the car for you and we will give the car to you for the 3 years. And you have to pay the 3 lakh rupees as EMI instead of paying the 10 lakh rupees as EMI. So what happens here is your monthly outflow is much lower and it makes it easy for you to own the car. And also, what happens with buying at the end of the lease, at the end of 3 years, you can pay that 7 lakh rupees and own the car. Or if you want to change the car, you can give the car back to us. We'll give you a new car or a new used car or an electric car, whichever you prefer, and you can continue to take that car on lease. Or you can also sell it in the market and pay the 7 lakh rupees and you're done with it. So it opens up everything. You don't have to haggle with car dealers to set the right price to sell your car. Once after 3 years you've paid your loan and you have to sell your car now, then you don't have to haggle with dealers. You don't have to haggle with insurance or maintenance because we take care of insurance and maintenance. We have insurance plans, maintenance plans, and we'll give it cheaper to you than you directly going to the OEM and doing it and waste time picking up the car, dropping the car. We provide all kinds of facilities. You have breakdown, we provide breakdown assistance as well across the country anywhere you want. So there are definitely, I mean, it's going to eventually cost you the same, but you don't have to get your money stuck by taking a loan, by going for a lease. So there are definite benefits. Also, if you're taking a corporate lease, say you are a salaried person and you're working for a company, say company X, you can come through your company and you can claim tax benefits as well. Whatever loan you're paying now, if you're going to buy a car, what happens is whatever loan you're paying now is after you're paying with the money that has been taxed already. So you pay a 30% tax, whatever is left in that you have to buy a car and take it on a loan and keep paying the EMIs. But what happens if you go for a company lease is whatever money you pay for EMI, that will be cut before your salary is taxed. So you can save up to 30% in tax as well. And your petrol can be claimed as an expense and your driver salary can be claimed as an expense. If you don't have a driver, you can claim your petrol as well. All these things will provide you huge tax benefits and makes it much more viable for you to own a car.
Got it. This definitely makes things a lot easier.
Absolutely. I would suggest, say, visiting the Tilt website, and if you want to know more about leasing and how it works and how does it provide you these benefits and facilities, and how is it way better than owning a car. I would request people listening to this to visit the website and probably have a look to understand more about this.
Definitely. What would be your advice to the youth who are aspiring to be entrepreneurs?
So absolutely, I would say be fearless. Try to build robust, sustainable, businesses. Don't be afraid of speaking about your ideas and trying to build something. Uh, if you're not taking risk, you are not going to be able to learn or grow. So the challenge is always there. You have to make something out of nothing. Uh, but I think it's totally worth it. On the other side, it's going to be tough, but if you can make it happen, it's going to totally be worth it. So don't be afraid of the challenge, and always know that walking alone is going to take you only that far. So you have to build, you have to collaborate with a lot of people and work with a lot of people to build something large and sustainable.
Wonderful, Raghav. This has been a great conversation. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you so much, Gautam, and thank you so much for your time, and thank you for this opportunity, to speak with you.
Thanks for listening. Please let me know your thoughts through email or through a voice message. Let's meet in the next episode.